Welcome back. Let's dive right in and talk about the challenges of doing business in India. When we last spoke, we talked about the rapid growth across virtually every industry. But to be realistic and play the devil's advocate just a little bit, can you tell us a little more about the more challenging side of setting up a business?
Yeah, absolutely, it's fair. And please play the role of the devil's advocate, Laura, because it's just not all very
I'm very
simple. I
good at
completely
it.
agree. I mean, there is a lot of complexity out here. But, the whole idea is that it's an extremely important topic. I mean, we just can't basically brush it away, that India is just not an easy place to operate and work from. We are moving up the needle, actually, from the governance perspective and obviously the government opening up and making ease of business. So we are on a global scale, trying to move up. But what are the companies really trying to do is to look at how do you overcome the bureaucratic hurdle, some of the tax law complexities. And then there's these, as you mentioned, increasing cost. How do you basically manage all of it? So first of all, what they're doing from a tax advisory perspective, tax management perspective, they're actually collaborating with a large number of companies. They're setting up joint ventures out here at times. They're also setting up very good partnerships. GST, which was an introduction in 2017, is a very complex tax implementation, which is a change from the value-added tax. Now, when GST was introduced, it was supposed to be one innovative game changer. But because of India becoming a country which is such diverse population, it turned out to be extremely complex, and it keeps evolving. So in this evolution, you find like recently there was a change done where rental payments, which corporates used to pay earlier, now actually has a big GST component. So there's an increased cost which the companies have to pay. So companies are basically now looking at what kind of software do you need to use? How do you basically work with the tax advisory firms to reduce the cost and track their liabilities? And then they're finding that they're using automation tools as one way to do that. The second thing which is there, which is rising cost, and that is actually in cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, wages are going up. So the cost of which is there, the advantage and the expenses are really impacting profitability for even these companies. So companies are becoming more strategic in how their relocation budgets are getting impacted. And they're doing this to say, what can I do in order to provide the best of the services, but at a very optimum cost? So you're using data analytics, using AI-powered tools, they're using predictability to say, okay, what are the expenses? Where do I basically look at options? They're comparing it so that they can make an informed decision. So technology has to basically play a way in order to us to manage these costs. And therefore, that's one big change which you see in how companies are adapting to the complexities in India and finding solutions. And then there's policy decisions. Companies are really moving away from old one size fits all approach. They're offering flexible relocation packages, and that can really help to manage and control your cost. And that's where companies like Wycard come into play. I mean, they are really spearheading change, and they're coming up with some great solutions for domestic, local India, intra-India moves. So we see across all areas, whether it's immigration, compliance has to be done for GDPR or in cybersecurity laws. You need to basically automate and you need to basically invest in digital platforms in order to manage the cost. And therefore, with that comes you can track everything online, you can see the processes. Movement is it's stressful to move. But then if you can do it online and you can actually find a way to do that very effectively, then you will basically be highly successful to manage through these challenges.
Yeah, well, it certainly is something we hear a lot about from our clients, sort of this interplay between wanting and needing to develop talent in India, move people within India, bring people into India, and bring people out because of the special skill sets that your nationals bring to the table. So there's a lot. And then there's the challenges that accompany it. Nothing we say like there's never such thing as a free breakfast. So I think it's important for us to look at these considerations and look at these challenges straight on and understand that this is going to be part of the price of doing business. So that concludes the first part of this discussion. In the next sections, we're going to be talking about Indian nationals moving within India and also repatriating Indian nationals. And why? Because we really have observed a pattern that demonstrates the needs for a different type of support than we might see with other expatriating and repatriating talent. Stay tuned for our next segment, where we dive into some of the ways in which domestic mobility is being supported.